Welcome to Sweet Tree of Life Tarot. Welcome, Cancer. Happy New Year. Right now we are currently in Mercury retrograde, so definitely make sure to watch your steps. Be very careful on what you do and don't try anything too new. Let's go ahead and start your reading. The first card here in the Cater position is basically the Seven of Pentacles, which actually deals with whatever your issue may be. In this case, it'll be reaching a goal or a milestone. You're reevaluating your next steps, and what you'll need to take and need in order to reach them. So it's necessary to maintain a steady course, and though you haven't reached them yet, it is possible to do so. The cards here do kind of warn you to make sure you do take care of the next steps you'll be making. The moon, though it does light your path, it usually doesn't light it all the way, which means you'll have to follow your intuition as well, your inner voice. So this card is about finding that inner voice. It's a card of dreams. This is your desire. You want to be able to find that inner voice and get past those fears head on in order to continue your journey. In the next position here, we have an Arcana card, the Devil. As you can see, Pan is in the background, kind of enticing everybody to come into the garden with the pomegranates and getting you into a little bit of mischief or making you feel attached, more attachment to the earthly realm, like desires, being bound by them, which can be leaving you hopeless, or being bound to the materialistic and ignorance that is in the earthly realm. But what you need to refuse is to go into that garden. Do not go into the garden, because once you go into the garden, whether it be physical, emotional, maybe even substance abuse, whatever it might be, or anything that's attracting you there, it may be difficult to turn back from. So be cautious to do not enter there. The next card is in the stabilizing position, which is a great card to have, the Sun. The Sun card usually deals with deep insight, finding the truth, illuminating your path, and everything that encourages you to shine brightly. It talks about good health and bliss. So you definitely want to make sure that you use this energy into building something that'll be stabilizing for you. Over here again, for the creation, you can see the moon again, along with the Nine of Cups, but you can see the moon in the background. This particular case, because it is in your section of creation, it does talk about, in the section of dissolving or something taking us down, not creation. It's basically creating in instances where it's kind of like a wish card, basically. Having your dreams come true, which is granted, which gives you granted wishes that maybe you didn't quite want after all. It's kind of like, be careful what you wish for. So in this particular case, you need to kind of dissolve it, and it does warn you to be a little cautious because of the moon there. But there are also a lot of cups filled with water. But again, in the position that this is laying in the tree of life, it does tell you that this is kind of like maybe taking you down a little bit. So just be careful of your actions, because there is karma. So whatever you put into the universe, you get back. So it's again telling you to be cautious of your actions here, especially if you're being enticed over here in this area. Number 6 position, you have what is called a synergy area, which is all the energies kind of come together for all of these in the upper hemispheres. The Knight of Cups is a card usually meant to deal with gallant, chivalrous, sensitive, and strong, kind of like a knight in shining armor. But those knight in shining armors can be kind of fickle as well with emotions. That's why it's a cups. It's water. It could be an admirer, maybe someone that kind of has an eye on you, or a relationship you're looking at, or maybe it's not as stable as you'd want it to be. Because even though he can be romantic and passionate, he or she can be temperamental, you know, overly sensitive and prone to fantasy, where they don't have their feet quite on the ground. They're mainly on their more than the emotional level here. And the 7th position is usually what drives you. This is a 9 of Wands. Wands do indicate fire, drive, so it's in the perfect position here for your drive and what you're searching for. In this case, this is a card of defensiveness, patience, and perseverance. But it does warn you to watch, kind of wait and proceed carefully. As you can see, the lion has her back, and she's kind of watching forward, but being aware of her surroundings before driving forward. Again, Cancer, be careful this month, because it's showing you that you need to be careful in reevaluating all your steps before you take them. The number 8 position here, the Knight of Pentacles. It's a very earthly position to be in here, for it reveals what you're searching for. The Knight of Pentacles is an earthly sign here. The Knight can be considered to be cautious, thoughtful, and hardworking. And he can be also stubborn, kind of like all work and no play kind of thing, kind of attitude. He is reliable and stable, making him a loyal companion and trustworthy partner. But again, right here, even though he doesn't need a sword, he has his rod of pentacles here, kind of leading his horse to make sure he keeps on the path. So he's aware of his surroundings again, just like the 9 of Wands was, very aware of the surroundings. So it's really telling you to be cautious, not only because of Mercury retrograde, but just for this month for Cancer as well. In the number 9th position, this is your foundation, the 8 of Swords. This is usually in the position where either people see you like this, or you see yourself like this. You see yourself maybe bound. This is a card of restriction, feeling bound, helpless, and vulnerable. Even though the crows seem to imprison her and she seems surrounded by the swords, if she takes her blindfold off, she can see how she can just get away. She's not really bound. She can find a pathway through the swords that she can just walk right past. And also she can just kind of wiggle out of these binding ribbons that are around her. She's not really trapped. So remember, there are options. Don't give up. You got to stay positive. The blindfold prevents her from seeing a way out of her situation, but there is a way out. So just kind of wiggle out of those blindfold, out of the ribbons. You can find your way out. And then, of course, Judgment. We want to make sure that for the Judgment card, this is under the Kingdom and the Outcome card section of the Tree of Life, which you would have to basically rate what you're going to be radiating out. This card usually represents absolution, atonement, and even a rebirth, as you can see, with all the lilies and life. It's time to leave the past behind, along with any guilt or grievances you have. So you have to make amends. Even if you can't make amends with a person or situation, make amends with yourself. And just kind of make amends. Don't hold any grudges and move forward. Your energy is not well spent on that. Time to make a tough decision. It's going to be a judgment call, if you will. But you want to start fresh. And this is basically the reading for this month. As you can see in the pillar here, in the pillar of harmony and the tree of life, you do have to go through each of these steps in order to reach your goal, or reevaluating your next steps carefully in order to reach that goal and get a better structure and foundation, so they're not so wishy-washy and not feeling like you're trapped. So just be cautious in the steps that you take, and just remember, our actions do have repercussions, so act in a good, kind way. People are not worth, or the situations are not worth any kind of angst It tells you that the sun is coming. And you just have to be careful. And then the judgment call is here. The judgment card. And it's a rebirth. So karma will take care of everything. No need to do anything yourself, because judgment's calling you to take atonement and rebirth. And just leave any guilt or grievances aside. Grudges are not healthy. They're not good for you, and they're not worth your energy. Please have a great and healthy new year. I'm wishing you much health, prosperity, and love. And obviously much caution, especially right now during Mercury retrograde. And I hope I see you back. Please like the video if this resonates with you, or if you like the reading. Please feel free to subscribe. And I hope to see you next month. Sending you light and love.